Hi, I'm Gary with Taylor Adhesives, and today we're doing a follow-up video to a past video on wet set, semi-wet, and dry set. Now we're going to show you a few tips if you're installing LVT, LVP, or really any modular resilient flooring product as a wet set or a semi-wet. Now, one of the things we recommend doing if you're doing that type of installation is you don't want to work on top of the floor when you're installing. Basically we'll spread the adhesive as far as you can reach. You drop your planks into it, lightly roll it with a hand roller. We're going to show you that in a little bit. If you have to get on top of it, you have to use knee boards. If you don't use knee boards, you could get adhesive displacement and actually bleed adhesive up in the joints and things like that and create a mess. So there can be a lot of problems that come in if you don't follow these steps. Now, a few things you'll have to have on hand. You'll want to have a hand roller, like a Crane 333. You'll want to have knee boards, and then you'll also want to have blue tape. And the blue tape will be able to enable you to use that as a tape strap to prevent plank migration and movement and things like that. Ray's going to spread some adhesive. He's applying this with a 1/16 by 1/16 by 1/16 square notch trowel. Now these recommendations are going to be with whatever adhesive you're using. Today we're using acrylic pressure sensitive. For transitional pressure sensitive, this adhesive can be used wet set, semi-wet, or dry set. But it'll also work if you're working with an acrylic, latex, a moisture cured, or even an epoxy adhesive. Any adhesive that would have to go in with wet transfer, you have to take extra precautions. Ray's going to drop a plank in, and we're going to just drop in the first two planks and show you basically what not to do. Now, when you're working with a wet set, obviously, you don't want to slide a plank into place because you're going to bleed adhesive up in your joints. Also, if you actually put weight on this floor, you could bleed adhesive up into that joint also. So that could be a real problem. Working away from it is absolutely critical to prevent that type of thing. Also, if you don't use tape straps to hold those joints in place, if the substrate's not perfectly flat and the flooring's not perfectly flat, you could end up with some gaps at your joint. So using tape straps is a really good thing. It's going to make your life a lot easier when you go. Now, what we'll do is you would roll this with a hand roller, like a Crane 333. But if you kneel on this floor right now, let me get Ray to kneel on it for me over here, and we'll pull it back and show you what would happen if you tried to work on top of this without knee boards. And see how those planks just moved all over the place on us? That would create a mess. You're going to be fighting that, trying to get it all back into place, and you're going to hate your life. That is why you do not want to try to work on these type of floors while the adhesive is still wet. If we pull that plank back, I'll have to pull the tape off. Sorry. You can actually see how it's smeared, and you will have some adhesive displacement. Anytime you have adhesive displacement, there could be an indentation that's going to telegraph through, or even a loss of bond in severe cases. Now Ray's going to show you the right way to install as a wet set or semi-wet. Now you'll notice he's not on top of it. He's working away from it. That's one of the most important first steps. Anytime you try to work on top of it, like we showed you just a moment ago, you got to have plank migration, you're going to have movement, you're going to have adhesive bleed up, and you're just going to cause yourself a lot of undue stress on the job site, and ultimately you'll probably have a very unhappy customer because the job's not going to turn out quite as nice as it could have. And once he gets these all in place, he'll end up lightly rolling this with a Crane 333. It's just a hand roller like this. You can get these from a variety of different manufacturers. They're all pretty similar. You can regulate your pressure so you don't have adhesive bleed up, and you embed that down in there. You're still going to come back with your 50 to 75 pound roller after the adhesive starts to set up, so you don't have to worry about migration. Now Ray's using blue tape here to prevent plank migration, so you don't have any joints that open up or anything like that. If you have to get on top of it, you're going to want to use a knee board like this. You can use a variety of different things. We used to use tempered masonite years ago. A lot of installers will even use foam board, like foam insulation board. It works very well. It's lightweight, inexpensive, and very easy to cut. So not working on top of it tape strapping and using knee boards when you have to get on top is absolutely critical anytime you're doing a wet set or a semi-wet installation. For more information, please contact Taylor Technical Services. We'll be happy to answer any questions.